and we're looking straight away. Headphones, you'll be able to hear me now.
Yep.
Turn the noise cancelling on. The magic of Bose. And within 10 to 30 seconds, we're looking oil pressure between 30 and 70. Fuel pressure's already stabilised, and temps over here, so oil temp and water temp. That's about it. Everything's running smooth, and you're just a bit below 2,000 RPM. You can gently just pull the power back just slightly. That's it. You can see how it automatically changes the node to the engine, the propeller, and also you can see the RPM down on the left. With the brake now, and I'm going to sit my hand here to capture, just slowly releasing. Okay, looking out the front now and having your feet up on those pedals, you're good. And with your power, you can just add a little bit of power, looking forward. That's it. Once you've got it moving, you bring the power back a little bit and just have a feel. I already checked the brakes there, they're working. Okay, and now taxiing one. Just feel the little bit of right rudder, a little bit of left rudder, so as you can get the feel of how much you need to make the aircraft actually turn. Good?
Yep.
Easy. Biggest one is to make sure you feel your feet, look out at your wing tips as well. And we're going to go straight ahead here up onto the concrete, and you can see the yellow taxi line with the little arrows, and we're going to put our nose wheel on that. You can apply a little bit of brake, so hand back on the next device and just pull it a little bit so you feel what the brakes are like. And we'll come to a bit of a stop on this concrete pad a little bit further ahead. So go about another 4 metres in front. About there's perfect, and then lock the park brake on for us. Excellent. All right. We'll go through a few other checks as we go. UNH 56, 26 minutes ago, 1021, 1021, 1021, and within 100 feet, AFO. Okay, starting from the bottom, park brake set, throttle set, fuel coming across here. We know that's the least amount of tank, so we've started on the left. We'll now change over to the right. Transponder we'll leave on standby there, warming up. Airspeed. Everything information-wise, and we'll talk more about that while we're up flying. Altimeter, at the moment we're sitting at 70 feet on the altimeter here and 80 on that one, and they're within the 100 feet that's required. Vertical feet, climbing or descending, so if it's up at the 500 here, it means we're climbing at 500 feet per minute, vice versa. Turn ball, balance ball I should say, and our RPM. Coming all the way across, all circuit breakers are still in, and radios are on 12265, our local frequency with our Brisbane Centre in the standby. Transponders on 1200. Oil pressure's good, fuel flow's good, oil temperature just above 120, that's what we need, and water temperature above 120. Looking out and around, all clear, especially behind us, making sure there's no other aircraft there, and just on the throttle, brake is already set, bringing up to 4000 RPM for me. For whatever reason, if the brakes don't hold, we pull the power back, and if we need to, shut down. Plus or minus 100's fine, that's it, nailed it. Up here what I'll show you is, I'll do the first one, you can do the next one. So the ignition, we pull the red lever down, and on here, watching the drop in RPM, we flick the switch down, and less than 300, it's about 100 on that, and flicking back on. So if you want to do ignition number 2 for us.
Down?
Yep, just flick it down, you can see the drop in RPM, it's definitely below 300, and now turning it back on. So you can just use the red one, that's it. Temps and pressures are good and stable, and it was nice and smooth when it was doing that, and then we ease the power back to idle or 2000 RPM. So what are we looking at there is to make sure that the electronic ignition and the spark plugs not a drop bigger than 300 RPM, and the difference between the two not above 120, and they're about 100 RPM each. Happy with that?
Yep.
Okay, controls. So left hand on the yoke, and yeah, so basically nice and light, as if you're sort of holding even lighter than a tennis racket or so. And as you can feel coming around, it's nice and smooth, it flows. The controls aren't binding on anything at all. And if we look then to make sure that they're going in the right sense, if you pull to the left, our left aileron out there goes up, pull to the right, right aileron goes up. And you can look over your shoulder if you want, and you can see the elevator coming up and down. Other than that, controls are good, and then flaps. we've got the cycle here. I'll get you to cycle it all the way down to the 40. So the two buttons here, just click the bottom button 3 times for me. Excellent. And looking left and right, making sure that they come down the same. Perfect. And now just 2 clicks up, bring it back to 15 degrees, which is our takeoff position. While you're looking there, you can see trim is set in neutral. We can also see that it exercises and moves, yes, into its positions. Other than that, we're ready to make a radio call, takeoff safety brief, and get ourselves ready to go. Happy with that? Okay, we'll do the takeoff safety brief. I'll roll it through while we're taxiing. So park brake can come off, and you can just taxi assist out, and we'll shortly enter the runway and backtrack runway 23 on the radio call. Maitland traffic, Legend 2014, taxis this time, runway 23 for an upwind departure to the southern training area. Maitland. Okay, coming around to your left, see where these two solid yellow lines and 2 broken lines on the left here? We're going to come around and have a big over bow peep on the left. Keep coming to the left a little bit more. We definitely want to see that there's no one coming in on finals on 05. All clear? As we enter, we had a strobe would turn on and have its transponders on altitude. And you have the feet control and start taxiing. And following this yellow line, we're going to taxi all the way down to the end of this runway. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Right hand can sit on the throttle there if you're happy with that. Once you feel that the aircraft's moving at a nice taxi pace, you can then just bring the power back a little bit. No real need to brake, unless of course we're in some sort of danger of running off the runway. And unlike a vehicle, you know how you drive on the left or the right?
Yeah.
We go
straight,
middle? Yeah, straight down the centre. So
more to the right?
Yeah, come over to the right there. If you use that little yellow and green sticky tape in front of you there, that might help you align with that centre line. Perfect. Clear to the right, clear to the left. Away, you can keep your hand resting just nice and comfy on there. So we're slowly getting down to the end there, and now's the time in my mind I start thinking about like what's going to happen if something went wrong as we took off. So I just run through a simple one, don't feel afraid by it or anything, but if we have an engine failure before takeoff, I'm going to close the throttle and brake as required. If we have an engine failure after takeoff with sufficient runway remaining, I'm going to lower the nose to a 65 knot attitude, close the throttle, full flap and land on the remaining runway and come to a stop. Engine failure after takeoff with insufficient runway, we're still going to lower the nose, 65 knot attitude, close the throttle, flap as required, and we'll be picking a spot within 30 degrees. Today the winds are light and calm straight down the runway 23, so if we needed to look at a turn back for myself, not below 700 feet. As we're approaching down the end here, we'll notice that there's 2 turning bays.
Yep.
We're going to go to the furthest one to make sure we use up all the runway available. And this aircraft does like to turn to the left nicely, and I can see that no one's on downwind, base or final. And just going to assist here with a little bit of brake, and I'll get you to come and bring my right wheel over to the right hand side of the runway here. Just over into the corner. And you can sort of see the bay area where we're going to be able to turn around. It turns a bit like a bit of a truck. So left rudder now full. Perfect. And then we'll come up on the centre line. Fuel pump is coming on and fuel is stable. Quick check through the cabin. Everything's where it is, doors are closed, runway is clear, and we look at the windsock, there is a slight crosswind right to left, so we'll hold a little bit of right arm. I want you to follow me through with it, about there, and right hand just leave in your lap. You happy? Good?
Yep.
Alright, let's go and have some fun. Maitland traffic, Legend 2014 rolls, runway 23, upwind departure to the south. Maitland. Okay, power coming up. Take a bit of weight off the nose wheel, just holding there, nice and relaxed. Airspeed is alive, oils, pressures, temps are stable and good, and nose wheels up, and we are flying. Tiny little bit of brake, check. And we just keep wings level, lower the nose a little bit for 65 knots, and a slight trim.
Oh, that's quick.
It is quick, isn't it? And as you can see, we're getting positive rate climb. We're climbing up through 400 feet here. I'm going to reach through here and then take our flap away one stage, back to 0. And you'll notice the nose of the aircraft actually lowers. Yep. So we can see more horizon in front of us. And we'll then let the aircraft accelerate to that 70, 75 knot. And then once it's trimmed out, you can see all easy. Still, everything's all stable where it needs to be. Listening to Brisbane Centre.
Maitland traffic, Legend 2014, departs upwind runway 23. We'll shortly in a left-hand turn, tracking to the southeast on climb to 2,500, passing 1,100, Maitland.
Righto. So let's get straight into it. What's going on? What do we need to understand? Well, the first thing we want to understand is what does the elevator do? So looking out the front and feeling the controls with me, if I gently pull back, you'll see straight away the nose pitches up, our airspeed starts to slow down, but we're climbing, and you probably feel it in your body, your brain, everything, and you can see we're climbing there a bit over 1,000 feet per minute. If I release the controls there and you let them go, the nose of the aircraft will want to resume back to where it was set in the trim. Vice versa, if you gently just push forward on the controls, you can have a feel of there, and you'll see the nose starting to come down. Yeah, that's all right, have a feel. You're not going to break it.
Gosh, it's very responsive.
It is, and it doesn't take a lot, so gently try it again on the up elevator, and just pulling back. Perfect.
Oh my god.
And gently lowering the nose again, you can feel. So there's just come through 2,000 feet. We'll go up to 2,500. And then shortly we'll start a little bit of a left turn here. So feeling happy with that elevator, and we'll play a little bit more with it, but it basically just controls your attitude out the front. Yep? Yeah. Okay. We're going to do a little bit of a turn to the left. So first of all, looking out, making sure all the area is all clear. And we're just going to add a little bit of left aileron. I'm going to relax a little bit of pressure off my right foot, and then let the aircraft keep climbing up to that 2,500 feet. Coming on to the altitude now, and we'll head around to Mount Sugarloaf. We're going to set now attitude coming forward, so attitude. Speed's already accelerated, so power coming back, and then we'll trim out as required.
Which one's Mount Sugarloaf?
The Mount Sugarloaf is the hill with the 3 towers on it, almost in front of us there. And just leaving the circuit area, fuel pump identified, fuel pump off. Feels stable.
It's 5, 6, contact centre 1, 2.
If we've trimmed out right, we've got a couple of little bumps in the aircraft, we'll mosey around a little bit, but as you can see, we're all sitting quite nicely. Yeah? Are you warm enough, cool enough? Are you good?
Yeah,
if you feel that you've got too much air on you, you can change those.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you need. Okay, so we've got the elevator organised. Now we're going to have a look at what our ailerons do. So, as you can see, if we're wanting to roll the aircraft left to right, obviously looking first, make sure there's no one in our way. We're going to go to the right first, so all clear, and we're just going to bang the aircraft. So if I just bring the ailerons a little bit to the right, we can see, if I hold that there, the aircraft's actually just going to keep rolling over. So we've actually got to centralise those controls, and I do need to use a bit of elevator to help hold the nose up, otherwise it wants to slip down and descend, okay, as we go into that turn. Do you want to have a try to the left? So bringing the ailerons around to the left, you'll see the aircraft will actually roll. A little bit of adverse yaw kicking in there, and looking all clear as we come around. And as you come around, just now gently pull back slightly. There you go, perfect. So you're holding that attitude as you come around.
It feels so steep.
It is, yeah. So you can lessen it off. You can come back a little bit to a lesser steeper angle until your wings level. Now, you know how earlier I said about the idea of the ailerons giving roll then adverse yaw? That secondary effect. So we're looking at Mount Sugarloaf straight ahead.
Yep.
If you're comfy with it, we're going to roll left and right. I really want you to pay attention to the nose. Now, I'm not using my feet in this. So as we roll to the left, that's not a problem. Roll back to the right. And now we're going to do this a couple of times, but just watch that nose. See how it really sways, and have a feel yourself by doing that. So as you can really, you're not going to break the aircraft or anything, but you can really see that that nose actually sways with the aircraft. Yeah? Stomach's good? Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we've got elevator elevator and ailerons, we can arrest that yawing motion by using our feet. We'll show you that shortly, but let's see what the feet do. So looking on the feet, we're going to do a bit of a push on the right rudder pedal. It's all clear out to the right. So follow me through. So pressing on the right pedal, you can see the aircraft yaws, but then goes into a bank, and if we use a bit of elevator, we can come around that turn again. Feel comfy to push on your left foot, and you'll feel the aircraft yaw, and then want to go to the left. And obviously if you do it gently enough, the aircraft will just ease into the roll, okay? And if you need to, you can level it out again. So that you can see straight away, if I want to, I can hold the aircraft flying level, but use the rudder. So if I press on the right rudder and keep wings level with the opposite aileron, you can see the aircraft goes into a turn, but the wings are level.
Yeah.
So we're now using rudder as yaw, but the ailerons counteracting the rolling motion.
So right rudder and
Right
left
rudder,
aileron.
left aileron. So now if you go the other way, left rudder and right aileron, that's it. And just enough aileron to keep wings level, you can see you're now counteracting and still keep using your elevator to keep yourself at your attitude you need. Yeah? Righto. Now before we had the roll motion and we had the nose of the aircraft yawing, let's put it in to the fact of using our feet with that instead of letting our feet sit off. So once again we'll show the roll. So left, right without the feet and that yawing motion. Yeah? Righto, let's fix it now. So following me through, if I add left aileron, we're going to add left foot.
Okay.
Okay? So left and right and right. And now look at the nose sitting on that horizon.
Yeah.
Okay? And pitching there. Now if you get it out of sequence, this is all that happens, okay? Alright? So you feel worse, alright?
Yeah.
I'm coming off the controls, you have a go and see what you think.
So left and left.
Left and left, and you don't need a lot of each, just that's it. A bit of right rudder, right aileron. And back to the left. Back to the right. Pretty good. So we can fly this aircraft two ways. One is in balance, one is out of balance. 90% of the time we want to fly it in balance because we like sitting in the seat, we don't feel like banking and throwing out the side of the door or something. So let's have a look at flying a turn in balance. Okay, if we want to turn to the right, we need to look out to the right, make sure it's all clear, and add a bit of right aileron, a little bit of right rudder, just a little bit with the feet, and nose up attitude. And as we're in the turn, we're looking for the horizon, that it's keeping us on a level plane. We quick look into some of our gauges here, so the altitude, the vertical feet per minute, and the balance ball. If we find we're pressing too hard with the rudder pedal, you feel that motion now like you're getting pushed out the door. And if you're not enough rudder, you then feel like you're slipping down this side.
Yeah.
So it's just getting that right amount. So I'll give you a chance now to do a left-hand turn. So a bit of left aileron, tiny little bit of rudder, and enough elevator to hold the nose up. So if you feel you've banked too much, that's it. Bring it back to there and nose up a little. Very good. We're in the balance and we're holding our height there. As you can see, nose has gone up. Give it a few seconds, you can see we've got a vertical feet climb rate.
Yep.
So everything all relates back out to that attitude out the front. So that's flying in balance. Flying out of balance is similar to what we did earlier when we had right rudder, left aileron. And we may need to use that if we come into land with a crosswind. You've seen an aircraft coming in and they've got to rotate the aircraft and touch down. So as long as you've got proficient with that, which will get you there at some point if you choose. Okay, so there are our three primary flight controls, flying in balance and out of balance. The next thing we've got is our ancillary controls, yes? And what are we using? Trim first, yeah? So the trim was the first one. So I want you to hang on to the controls. You can see the attitude out the front. We can see enough horizon and where that horizon cuts on the dash or the windscreen here, yeah? I'm going to press the button here and the aircraft's going to get nose heavy. But I want you to hold that attitude. So you're going to have to slowly pull back on the controls, yeah?
Okay.
Feeling that weight come on? Now you wouldn't want to fly all day like that.
Yeah.
A couple of things, it's inefficient for the aircraft and it's painful on your arm. So with your left thumb there, pressing on the bottom part of the button until the weight comes off the controls and the attitude stays at the same spot. You can press it once or twice or you can press and hold the button. It'll just move a bit quicker when you hold the button. If you press it too much, you'll just go into a little bit of a climb. And then you've just got to use the top part of the button to reset it back down where you need. How does that feel? And the idea is just to get the aircraft trimmed out to fly level or the attitude you require.
Is that right?
Yeah, perfect. perfect. If you get to a point you go, that's the attitude I want, you let the hands go on the controls and the aircraft stays there, that's right. If you find the nose changes, then you need to address it and do a little bit more trim work. So anytime too that we change power or change our attitude, basically we need to retrim the aircraft to hold where we need it to. Righto. So that was our first ancillary. The second ancillary we got is our flaps. Now we may get a couple little bit bumps coming over the hills here near Mount Sugarloaf, but we can continue on and I'll shortly change frequencies over because of where we're looking at heading. The flap. Now the flap has a deployment speed, and it's on the airspeed indicator here, indicated by the white arc, and it's 72 knots for this aircraft for each stage, so 1, 2 and 3. As long as we're below 72 knots, I just bring a little bit of power back, keep your wings level, and we'll initiate one stage of flap. There we go, 70 knots there, first stage of flap coming on. Whoa. You notice automatically a little bit of a change in attitude, and if you look out and you see your flaps, we've only brought them down 15 degrees. Next one, it comes down to 30 degrees, so it doubles that, but it really does make a difference. As we're moving along, I'll get you to, if you want, reach around and press the bottom button one more click, and you can see the indicators automatically change there, and now you can feel it, it's like you put the brakes on a little bit, and the nose wanted to pitch up just slightly, so you can hold the nose a little bit forward. Just to maintain our airspeed, I'm going to add a little bit of power, and trim if need be to hold the aircraft there. Last one we're going to do is the last stage of flap, so just bring around, bottom button again, it'll go to the red indicating the 40 degree flap, and nose down again, airspeed's good, height's good too, and change of frequency 132.1, holding wings level there, magically, good, 1321, 1257, okay, and at the moment you've noticed the aircraft's quite slow.
Yep.
You're feeling it. Do you feel a little bit of vibration coming through the controls as well?
Yeah.
So the air that's being disturbed off the wings and coming off the flaps is going over the elevator, causing it to get a little bit of vibration. Don't often fly too often like this. Yeah, that's alright. Just the winds gust coming up over these hills. And if we now look at the attitude what we've got out in front, we can see quite a bit. Yeah? And we're sitting at what, 50 knots? Yeah? Okay, I'm going to take the flaps away nice and slowly, one stage at a time. So for 50 knots, maintaining height there, 2,700 feet, and now flaps away for 50 knots. Let's see what the attitude actually looks like. Still maintaining height for that 50 knots. So 2,700 feet, make sure we're holding there, 50 something knots, and see the difference.